Good morning, ladies. Welcome back to the Wealthy Woman Show. I'm so excited to be here. I am your host, Rebecca Barr, aka the Femalepreneur Coach. So if you are joining me live, please let me know in the chat so I can officially welcome you in and say hey. But if you're watching back on the replay, hello to you as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I was just saying, the energy has felt very flat, and I know that this is due to new moons, full moons, super moons, all the energy. So if you ever feel that way, this is the perfect opportunity to come and join me on a Monday morning and feel activated to start your week. So I am so excited to be here today. I'm just going to obviously keep an eye on the chat. If you're joining me, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. So just to recap on what you can expect on my weekly slot, which is now confirmed as Mondays at 10:30. Super excited about that. Actually, for the reason because Monday is one of my favorite days of the week. And I don't know if anybody else feels this way, because I know typically and kind of societally, custom and practices that it's the Friday, it's the Saturday. But for me as a business owner, and definitely for you as an entrepreneur, I always saw Monday, I think because I had brick and mortar businesses that were retail, it was like a new cash week. So we would do all the cashing up and banking on a Sunday, and it's like, Monday is our fresh start. But I just feel like every Monday is a new opportunity for possibilities. And who knows where we're going to be by this time on Sunday. And that is the beauty of the abundance that's available to you as a business owner, is that literally any day of the week, you could be making thousands. And again, one of the intentions of this show is that I can help to support you in that practically, strategically, spiritually, but to really start to tap into that abundance that is available to you. So I'm super excited. Every week I will be sharing some value with you. So obviously, if you're just coming for that purpose, that would be incredible. But also what I want to do is start to make these sessions more interactive so that you can also have your questions answered. So one thing that I have done already is I've actually been polling my audience on where they currently are in their entrepreneurial journey, what kind of income brackets that they're hitting, but then equally what kind of challenges are coming up for them when they think about their next level goals. So I've got some great questions that I'm going to be answering today. Again, if you want to join me live and pop your questions in, I'll make sure that we have time to do some live coaching as well. Because these are the conversations, right, that literally shift paradigms, change the narrative for women, and really push things forward for us to step into our wealthy woman era, especially as business owners. I once met a really interesting woman, side note, and obviously as you come into this audience more and more, you'll realize that I'm a chatty Cathy. I'm a Gemini, by the way, so we're very good communicators and we love to talk. But one thing that I'm known for is a side note and a backstory, and everybody needs context. So I met this really incredible woman once in California. She was an 8-figure business coach, but a spiritual business coach. So she actually had the most incredible job. She went into big corporations like Amazon, Google, like massive corporations, and was flown all around the world to essentially like clear energy within the teams that were in those businesses to kind of, eliminate blocks and all the things. But she actually said, every time we do the work as a woman, to heal ourselves, to become whole, to be seen, to be visible, and to claim and take up the space that was always our birthright, we actually make the world a better place, and that the world is going to be ultimately healed by female entrepreneurs, because equally we are solution providers. So if you think about the services that you offer for your clients, you are making their lives better in some way. Even if you're not a coach or a mentor and you have a retail business, you are improving their life in one way or another. And if you think about, just that small little thing that you can contribute to that person's day and the ripple effect of that, it's pretty incredible. So the more that we make more money, the more that we get more visible, the more that we serve more clients and at a higher level, the more that we get to make the world a better place. I truly believe that. So if you joined me for the last episode that I shared, it was very strategic. It was all about the psychology of money, why we aren't essentially set up to win as women from, we lack financial education. We have so many societal expectations. We have a belief system that tells us it's not safe. We lack entrepreneurial role models. It's difficult to get funding. All of those kind of things. If you're interested or curious in that, you can dive a little bit deeper into the last one. So make sure you catch up on the replay. But what I wanted to obviously talk about today was some of the things that have come up for the women in my mastermind community. So one of my offers is a high-level mastermind community, because I truly believe that is where a lot of us feel unsafe, is where we are running our businesses on our own. We're kind of left to whatever connections we're making and observations from things that we're seeing on social media. And there's a lot of smoke and mirrors around people's success and what it took to get there and all of those things. So the more that, again, we can be involved in these safe space conversations where women are actually, lifting the curtain on what's working for them in their business at the moment, what kind of mindset challenges are coming up, what isn't working in their business. Like, let's just have some honest conversations. So one way that I facilitate that is through my mastermind community. And I wanted to share with you some of the things that have come up for the women this week, because inevitably, as they're moving, as they're setting the intention that they are ready for more and they want more success, more visibility, more impact for their clients, there is always going to be a new level or version of them that needs to evolve in order for them to handle and hold that next level. So one thing I wanted to talk to you about today was acclimatizing to your next level income, because what I have seen otherwise, and definitely what was part of my journey. So if you remember, again, the women that joined me for last week, was that essentially financial self-sabotage is real, particularly in business. If you think about the mindset and the embodiment shifts that need to happen going from a corporate mindset to an entrepreneurial mindset, suddenly you're not, just a cog in the wheel. You are the master of all things. And that can be really challenging because it's quite confronting as an entrepreneur. All you have is time. So, and you don't necessarily have the budget to hire the right people in the right places. So you're having to kind of like do things that you probably have no business doing, and learning things that probably don't come naturally, because where else have we had exposure to digital marketing and funnels and showing up on TV and all of these incredible things that you suddenly need to master as an entrepreneur. So with that kind of mindset, and you've also gone from selling a business or a product, or maybe you weren't even in sales. For me, I was in human resources. So as much as I was kind of the front end of the business in terms of like working with business partners, managing talent, I certainly wasn't out there in a sales role promoting the business in any, kind of way, proactive way. To then go to become a business owner, where suddenly it's my business. I now have to wear all the hats and do all the things. And, if I don't earn that money, I'm not going to get paid, and neither are my children. I've got to look after them and all the things. It was such a huge shift for me. And then, I bought a business that was failing, really got myself behind it. Very typical to my money origin story that we talked about last week, where I was almost like addicted to the hustle and being the underdog, because that's what I had experienced my whole life. I knew how to thrive in situations when my back was against the wall, because suddenly you have a get out opportunity or clause to make decisions that are in alignment with your highest good, because you're in a fight or flight response and you're literally running off adrenaline, you're running off your stress hormones. And I knew how to kind of operate in that environment, because that has had been my firsthand experience growing up. Maybe you can resonate with that. Let me know in the chat if you've had a chance to catch up, firstly, from last week. If not, how was your relationship and your experiences and your exposure to money when you were young? if you resonate with some of my story around like the struggle and the hustle and all the things, when you become an entrepreneur and you're kind of getting things off the ground, sometimes, you can actually thrive in that environment because it's mirroring back to you situations that you've kind of encountered and experienced in the past. And there's a lot of safety in the familiar. What I wasn't used to was things being good, things being easy, things being peaceful, having more money than I knew what to do with, and having overflow and welcoming in large amounts of money. So once I'd gone through that initial, like, we're in it together, like hustle mindset, and I was actually grew up my entrepreneurial journey. I kind of came up with the boss babe era where it was hashtag hustle while they sleep, grind, all of that sort of thing. Let me know again if you did as well. So I was very much in my toxic masculinity when I was first growing my businesses. But as soon as things started to get a little bit easy, and as I say, more money coming in, I did not know what to do with it. So my first temptation was to get rid of it. And that looked like overspending on things that didn't necessarily weren't, the best financial decisions, i.e. like overpaying on staffs, overpaying on stock, doing a shop refurb every bloody few weeks. It looked like essentially spending my money like I stole it. So I was generous to a fault. I was equally, booking holidays and nice things because in the back of my mind, I was almost feeling like, enjoy it while it lasts. And this, again, is a bit of a transition that the women go through in my mastermind and that people don't talk about enough. Like, what happens when it gets good? What happens when you make money? What happens when things are easy? What happens when it all works out? That's typically when self-sabotage starts to creep in. And it can look like say, overspending, telling yourself that you're just reinvesting into your business, but not allowing yourself to be happy or receive that money now and acclimatize to that new level of income so that can become your new normal. So that was definitely my experience. And it wasn't until I had my accountant, actually, of all the people in all the world, come to me after an audit and say, are you okay? Like, do you realize how much money is coming into your business now? You finally got to the good bit. Like, you've overcome the struggle. You've brought in new clients. You've increased your prices. You've lost staff. Like, you've done all the hard work. But rather than leaning back and allowing yourself to feel safe with that money around you and actually enjoy it, you're just like either moving the mountain onto the next goal so that you can never allow yourself to get to the good bit and enjoy it, or you are literally like getting rid of that money so that you're still in that fight or flight, struggling to pay the bills, not necessarily struggling, but like thinking, very conscious of the bills that are coming up, and scrambling when the big, VAT bills and all of the things come up. Why are you doing that? Like, what, are you okay? Is everything all right? Like, that we've got it handled in terms of taxes. And that is definitely something, side note, that comes up a lot with my clients, is this fear of needing to pay taxes. And now, obviously, I have the mindset that it's better to earn, the 60p on the pounds. Obviously, I'm talking in pounds as opposed to dollars, then not have the 60p. Even if you've got to give 40p of that away to tax or VAT or the government, it's better to have the rest of it, because that is how you build wealth, essentially. And I had come into a business completely with the wrong mindset, being advised by people that were kind of like, quick cash, get in, get out, get your money. Whereas for me, and hopefully for you, I actually wanted to be in it for the long haul. I felt liberated from that journey, going from corporate to entrepreneur, and suddenly now having all of these privileges that I didn't have before. So my journey previously was, single mum in corporate, working all of the hours. Thankfully, I had a parent, my mum, that could help me with the children, which meant they still got to, sleep in their own beds, get up at reasonable times, have a dinner every night. But it meant that I was away a lot and very absent for their first, my older 3 kids. I've got nearly 6 now. number 6 on the way. Which meant there was this perpetual cycle of guilt. And it wasn't until my mum suddenly became ill one day that all of that was taken away. And as much as I felt bad, as much as, I literally used to cry on the way to work. Let me know if you're in that kind of in between world right now where you have a corporate job and maybe you're building a side hustle, or you're moving towards that future where you have financial freedom, but you're not quite there yet. I was definitely in that boat. So then becoming an entrepreneur and suddenly being available for every school run and not having to rely on other people to support me, not having to ask for permission to take time off or be with my kids, that's actually like a measure of success for me. So having tasted that, I didn't want that to go, but I was being advised by people that were like, don't declare everything, keep your income low, don't pay taxes, get rid of all your expenses so that you don't have to like pay all these charges. And now I see it as a privilege. And I think it's about radically understanding and having that self-awareness as a woman where you could potentially unconsciously be holding yourself back from your next level because there's this underlying tone of fear. And for me, that was definitely the case. So as the women now in my mastermind are moving through their next levels of income, what I want to do, and obviously encourage you guys to do, is to really allow yourself to enjoy the moment, hold that money and allow that to be your new energetic normal, so that you don't end up with these crazy feast and famine cycles in your business where you have a really great month, then you have a terrible month, then it's kind of good, not good, and there's no predictability or consistency in your income. Because there's so many strategic things that you can do to ensure that that doesn't happen to you in your business by building your monthly recurring revenue. But a lot of that starts with your mindset and your energy towards that money, and allowing yourself to receive as a woman that money without it feeling unsafe and you kind of repelling it as soon as it comes in. So do you recognize that in yourself? Let me know, like, when you've reached your highest level income month. And here's the thing, that's different for all of us. I remember the first time that I reached like £500 in my business. I celebrated that all the way home, just as much as my first 20K month in business. Like, you need to ground into every level as you reach it so that you don't end up unconsciously repelling it and falling back to your previous limit, because you've given yourself this unconscious upper limit that you can't kind of move past. So one thing I've been supporting my women to do is to literally receive it, to acknowledge it, to deal with anything that comes up that tells them that this isn't safe, that they can't replicate it, that, they're bad in some way because they've made an income from helping clients that need them. I work with women typically from like breathwork facilitators and healers, naturopaths, right through to property professionals and very masculine kind of like businesses. But there's so much commonality between their struggles. It's like imposter syndrome will kick in, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit actually, because that was another thing that came up this week, was around, can I replicate this success? Was it a fluke? Ladies, stop giving your power away to something outside of yourself. If you have achieved great success in your business, guess what? You deserve it. You did that, and you need to own that. So part of this is, sorry, I'm just looking at the comments. I realized I was in the wrong section. I didn't see any of these coming in. So sorry, ladies. But part of the reason why, we struggle to hold this wealth is because we're continually giving it away to other people and saying, oh, it's my coach, it's my mentor, it's the algorithm, it's, because that content went viral. No, let's receive it and say it's because I'm really blimmin' good at what I do, and I show it up with integrity for my clients, and I deserve this. I receive this. I allow myself to receive and know that it's safe for me to reach my next level. The better it gets, the better it gets. Oh, hi, Carly. Amazing. Yes. So Carly has just mentioned that her sister is a social media manager and that she ends up kind of turning work down because she finds that she doesn't feel that she can justify what she charges, because to her it probably comes natural and easy. So this literally couldn't be more timely, because I had a very similar conversation inside my mastermind this week, where one of the women, who is essentially a business strategist, and because to her it's come very easy and she sees things, like funnels and opportunities to optimize people's business, it's kind of second nature. She feels guilty charging for that. And it sounds like it's the same for your sister. But here's the thing, like, we deserve to be compensated for our work. What comes naturally to one person won't necessarily come naturally to others. And you only need to be 2 steps ahead of somebody else in order to add value to that person. And there's so many things, so many little tips and things that I want to share with you around this, because imposter syndrome, first of all, celebrate yourself for the fact that you have it, because I think it shows a great sense of integrity, that you are somebody who wants to do a good job and that you don't take it for granted, the fact that you get compensated for your work. Like, first of all, that's amazing, because there's lots of people out there that do not care, and are just like, yeah, have this sense of almost entitlement. Just give me the money. There's no exchange of value. They don't want to show up and do a good job. They don't care about being here for the long run. And I've definitely experienced some of those people. Let me know if you have too. So the fact that you even have this little voice that says, is this okay for me to charge, is, great. And it's a sign of a great person. But equally, it is a form of self-sabotage, because what is the positive sign, or what is the positive? And we call it, in NLP, so neuro-linguistic programming, we talk about a secondary gain. So in any kind of self-sabotaging behaviors or toxic situation, there is some kind of part of us that is getting something positive, even if it's just confirmation, validation, reinforcement from that situation, even if it's not good for us, and even if ultimately this is holding us back from our happiness or our peace, or there's something that is getting something from it in the meantime. And I think when it comes to imposter syndrome, it's keeping us safe from judgment, from fear of failure, from rejection, from this ending at some point. So I might as well not really even go all in, because then I haven't really tried. And if it doesn't work out, I haven't really lost anything, because I never really put myself in all the way in anyway. And I see that so much with women, and I can feel them energetically kind of holding back. But what I would say, again, as I mentioned, I work with a lot of incredibly good women that do beautiful light work and healing work. And, even if it is just the social media, it's about really kind of sitting there with yourself and thinking, it's not about me. And it's not about your sister. It's about the person that's on the other end of her services, the person that's receiving the value from your sister. And again, you only need to be 2 steps ahead of somebody else to add value. So don't think you need to be the world's best social media manager. Every post goes viral. Their following skyrockets by thousands in days. Like, let's just eliminate that pressure straight away. And I think it helps you to just kind of like take some baby steps towards where you need to go, when you don't put such impossible pressure on yourself to be perfect, finished, and all the things, and you just allow yourself to be a couple of steps ahead of somebody else, right? But also, it's not about your sister. And I really struggled with this initially, in terms of getting visible, being seen, offering my opinion, really being spoken and seen online. And then I realized it's not about me. It's about the woman that needs my help right now. It's the woman that's struggling in her business. So for your sister, what is the potential ROI on somebody working with her? Well, social media is like the lifeblood of that person's business that she's going to be working with. They absolutely need a strong social presence. And the difference of her showing up for those clients and being visible is probably the difference in them receiving a meaningful income and not. That's the reality. Because if you don't have a good front end marketing system to your business, you don't have a good social presence, you're not intentional with how you are, bringing in new clients, generating new leads, then you don't have a business, you have a hobby. So for her, as I mentioned, it's not about her. It's about the clients that need her help right now, that have absolutely no idea what to do with social media. And hello, My name's Rebecca. I was absolutely one of those people. With my brick and mortar businesses, I didn't even have an Instagram page for like the first 2 years of my business because it just completely overwhelmed me. I didn't know that social media managers were a thing. I would have absolutely hired somebody from the get-go. But think how much money I left on the table in those first 2 years by not knowing what I didn't know. Would I have paid somebody hundreds, if not thousands, a month to do that for me and take that stress and that hassle away? Absolutely. And I think when you have a done for you service like that, it can be easy to think, well, why is somebody going to pay me hundreds of pounds when it's something they can do themselves? When you realize that not everybody is motivated by the same thing. So I've got a client, for example, that's a property expert developer. Her deals, she's got 50 million pounds within her property portfolio right now. Do you think that her trying to figure out how to do hashtags and posting and doing like trending reels is a good use of her time and energy? Or does it make more sense for her as the CEO of her business to put into the front, like the delivery and the other elements of her business that means that she could make 50 million? Absolutely. Do you think that she would think twice about, paying a social media manager 2, 3, £5,000 a month to take that headache away from her, ensure that when her clients land on her social media pages, that there is a consistent and professional feel to her business that's going to be an asset? 100%. And I think sometimes perspective is a wonderful thing. And again, that's why it's so important to be in business-based communities, because again, when everybody else is saying nobody's buying right now, it's before Christmas, nobody has any money, everybody's waiting for Black Friday. If you're in a community where actually people are still I had a client the other day that had a multi 5-figure launch, basically from one email. She just beta launched a program. And yes, she'd done a little bit of priming and she already knew that it was something that her audience wanted. But she didn't do a whole big live launch and put loads of energy. I don't even think it's on her socials, actually. Oh my God, yes, Carly, she absolutely needs me. I'm going to come back to your point in a second. But this was the thing. She had the belief that actually, I already know this is something that people want. And now is the perfect time, actually, because then it can get them set up for the new year and make them feel like they've got some really incredible wins under their belt. If I offer this certification now, then it's the perfect time. And because she had that mindset, her audience responded to her conviction, because that's what people are buying when they are offering to exchange value with you and instruct your services. They are buying your certainty and conviction in what you offer. So if you don't believe that you're worthy of those prices, and we're not talking about self-worth here, by the way, you are priceless, nobody can afford you. It's about what the exchange of value of what it is that you're offering, then your clients will pick up on that too. So where my client had the self-belief that actually everybody wants this, they'd be mad not to do it, they'd be mad not to invest in this thing. She had a multi 5-figure day for one email, and I already had backup strategies and next stage plans. We didn't even need it because she'd filled her quota for a beta program just from that one email. So then she has now provided the evidence for all of the other women in the mastermind community that actually people are buying, and you do create your own economy. And if the offer is good enough, people will find the money, and they are still looking to invest at this point, even if they've got Christmas presents to buy and other things to do. So that confidence has been leveraged within the community, and we're getting women making money left, right, and center. And that's also the thing. Sometimes you need to see the evidence. So I think it's about knowing yourself and understanding at what point am I blocking my success or feeling stuck. And it sounds like for your sister, I think perspective and context would be really valuable to her, because obviously, like I say, if she's only charging £300 to £600 a month, that is an absolute steal for a social media manager. Give her my details. I'll take that offer all day long. And she will not be, overcharging or any of those things. So it's context, isn't it? I think when you fully own the space, and again, it could be from her sitting and doing a bit of journaling and reminding herself, actually, how many hours has she spent learning and honing her crafts. What kind of results has she got for her clients already? What kind of journey has she been on? And why is she so passionate about this thing? Because it might be her passion. So therefore she feels like, oh, I'm in flow, it's easy. But it's definitely like pulling teeth for other people. So if she could take that off somebody else's plate, that could be the difference between them getting visible and the clients and the income that they deserve and not. And I think sometimes when you're a really good person and you really do have that sense of wanting to do the right thing, just that little reframe about it's not about me. It's about the value that I can bring to my clients and the results that they can get as a result. It really helps you to get out of your own way. But obviously, you know, if she wants more support, try and encourage her to come to these calls and then we can pinpoint it a little bit more. But absolutely, I think even just knowing your market value. But even with that, you don't have to base your prices on market value because there is a client for every price point. It's just about adjusting your marketing to speak directly to that price point. Yay, thank you. So, you know, you can buy trainers from Primark for like a tenner. I was looking for my daughter the other day, actually. So this is kind of a very real-time opportunity. Now, she is a teenager that is constantly like head down, scuffing her feet, throws everything everywhere. And we bought some really nice trainers from Primark that actually look like a well-known brand of high tops. Obviously, I won't say it, but I went onto their website because I was thinking, oh, it's her birthday. Like, I'd like to buy her some decent ones. Maybe they might last a bit longer. They were obviously 5 times the price, if not six times the price of what we've bought from Primark. And I thought that's so interesting because they don't care that Primark are charging less or that people can get them somewhere else for cheaper. They have built a brand, they've got a presence, there's a certain amount of kudos in wearing them, and they trust that the right clients will find them regardless. Obviously the quality's better and all the things. So that's the thing, like she doesn't have to price her prices based on market value or any of those things. It can just be what feels good to her, because ultimately whatever number you are charging your clients has to be a number that you can really get behind. And when I first started in business coaching, I paid £300 to work with me for 6 weeks. And it was only and that felt good to me at the time. It was only when I got 10 clients sign up in a day that I was a bit like, maybe I've mucked up because that was a bit too easy. But as I moved through those 6 weeks and saw the results that my clients were getting and the income on the other end of it, and, you know, the increased self-belief and all of the other intangible benefits, it started to fill my cup of self-belief as well. So I also believe in incrementally increasing your prices so that, again, it's, you know, you can get behind it. I once had a coach that was like, just triple your prices. And I was like, why? And he said, because people will pay it. There's coaches out there charging like 3 times what you do. And I couldn't get behind that pricing. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do it, because I know even though I'm going to say it, I'm not going to be able to sell that because I don't fully believe and embody that price yet. Subsequently, I've got there, but it's taken a lot of time of just reaffirming, seeing the evidence, increasing what I feel comfortable to receive. So it might just be a process for her, like get a couple under your belt at 300, then increase the price point to 500, then increase the price to 1,000. And the next client that comes in gets it for that price point. When you then, you know, receive that client at that price point, that's the evidence that you need to then be like, interesting. People will pay that. And I'm still, you know, delivering a great service, and everybody is actually winning when I win. I think that's like how you really get, it's a process, it's an evolution. But equally connecting with your why, as I said, you know, it's not about us, it's about the women that we're serving or the clients that we're serving. So the last thing I wanted to kind of touch on today was a question that was asked to me around on my socials. So if you ever want to submit your questions, you can do it here in the group, in the Thrive group, or find me on socials, which is the Femalepreneur Coach. So I had somebody that sent me a question on Instagram, which was basically saying around like, I'm making some good money. I've kind of done the work around my money mindset. Obviously, there's always a new level, but now I don't really know what to do with it. And I would say, obviously, I'm not a financial planner. So start to give yourself permission to act as a wealthy woman and instruct professionals that can advise you with specific products and all of the things that make sense with your version of success and all the things. But as a broad step, what I would say is if things are starting to go well, this is really time to, I have a 5-step financial freedom framework that I think, regardless of whether you're talking about £50 or 50,000, I think it makes sense as a linear step towards financial freedom for everybody. And the first step is to create some safety savings. So again, being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things that can come up as a woman who's been through COVID with a very extensive payroll and brick and mortar businesses. Things can be thrown our way that we were not anticipating. We don't have the safety. I'd say safety, it's perceived safety, isn't it, of a corporate salary, because they get rid of you at any time. But we don't necessarily have that. So you need to provide your own safety for yourself. And the first thing is by creating a pocket of money that is relevant to you and your needs and your personal circumstances. If you're watching back, ladies, and you've got any other questions, just let me know and I'll make sure I either answer them in the comments, or you can join me next week for my next show and I'll make sure that I cover it off there in more detail. But we all need to have some sort of safety savings, which means that, you might have home insurance, car insurance, life insurance. But if something were to go drastically wrong with your car, for example, a lot of the time those premiums are like £500 or dollars or whatever. Do you have that to pay the excess on those insurances? Do you have that just kind of sitting around? Chances are you probably don't. And as a business owner, I know so many women that live so close to the wire because either they're going all in, or because of cash flow, or because that's what they're used to. But decide on a number of, an amount of money that is going to enable you to essentially regulate your nervous system around money. Know that all of your basic emergency last minute needs, unexpected costs could be covered with that amount of money. But equally, an amount of money that's going to make you feel really proud of putting aside and being responsible and stepping into this wealthy version of you, that if you achieve that money and it's literally sitting there somewhere else, completely, we don't want to make it inaccessible. That's the thing. So we need to make sure that, it's in a high interest savings account that you have instant access to, or premium bonds, or somewhere else that makes sense for you. And again, this is where a financial planner could probably help you to find the best place to put that money. But it's somewhere that you could get your hands on it if you needed to, but it's not there tempting you when Black Friday comes around, or when, the sales, or on a day when you're feeling a little bit low and you want to cheer yourself up. It's not for that. This is a declaration of your intention to step into that wealthiest version of you, because wealth means having money around, knowing that it's there, but not choosing to spend it because it's there. It's like, I don't need the validation of a quick purchase or any of those things. It's okay and safe for me to have more than I need. And it's the first step in really moving towards overflow and abundance, I think. So decide what that number is. And one thing that I found is that 56% of people in the UK don't even have £1,000 as their safety savings. We're not talking about emergency savings if the house was to fall down and all the things, but have that one thing. And I've actually got a free resource that I want to share with you. I'm a very visual person. Let me know if you're the same. And I love trackers. So I have vision boards, I have like goal planners, I have spreadsheets for everything. And I have created a free like safety savings challenge tracker. So you can put in whatever it is to you that amount means. Maybe it's £1,000, because as much as 56% in the UK don't have it, women are even less likely to have that little savings pot somewhere. For so many reasons. We take time out, we put all our money into our kids, we've always got, our earnings are a little bit capped, so we're even less likely to have that amount, even if it's just £100 for now. The power of setting that goal and then achieving it will pay you back in dividends. It will be in every part of your life when you start to prove to yourself. Because here's the thing, side note again, but what happens is we will say that we're going to do something, and then something comes up this is what happens when, diet starts Monday. I'm going to do the damn thing. And then we don't. We lose authority with our own subconscious brain. How crazy is that? Every time you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it, and you might have the best reasons in the world. The kids are sick, something came up, didn't suddenly feel aligned. I don't know. Self-sabotage crept in. Whenever you don't do the thing that you said you were going to do, you lose authority. So the next time that you set a goal and you say you're going to do something, you're only kind of halfway in, because your subconscious brain is like, well, we kind of said that last time and then we didn't do it. I'm not fully going to get behind that goal. And it becomes harder and harder and harder to achieve these goals. So one way of counteracting that and starting to fill up your own cup of self-authority and recognizing you as the badass that you are and starting to reclaim and own your power is by setting these mini goals for yourself and smashing them and blowing your own mind at what you are capable of. So this is a great step to do that. It's by saying it's going to be £100. I'm going to have that somewhere. Can't touch it, but if I need it, I know it's there. Not only is that going to regulate your nervous system as a woman in business to know that your basic needs are met, that you don't need to rely on credit cards, high interest loans, or anybody else to save you. That's pretty empowering in itself, but it's also a practical strategic thing there that if something came up, you've got the money. So I'll pop the link in here for that. You can set that amount and then obviously start working towards that. Remember that energy flows where focus goes. So and there's nothing more determined, like nothing more powerful than a woman who actually decides she's going to do something and then goes for it. Like nothing's going to get in your way. So allow yourself to receive that mini win. It also helps with acclimatizing to your next level of income. So that is obviously step one. Step two is to then, actually, I've got a blog post, I can pop that into, to go into these aspects in more detail. But once you've got that safety savings, it's then about paying down high interest loans. So these could be overdrafts that are charging you loads of money. It could be high interest credit cards that are costing you a fortune, car payments that are extortionate. And this is how the wealthy get wealthy. It's by knowing at what time to move on to the next level strategy. So this is what I was sharing with my client. Like I say, get your safety savings done. If you're already there, amazing. Focus on this thing next, which is paying down those high interest debts. Once they are done, you are going to have so much more disposable cash. What's next? Okay, that's then increasing your emergency savings fund. So now we could be talking about 3 months of expenses. So it could be, £10,000. It could be £15,000. It could be £5,000, depending on what your expenses are. Let's get some of those in the bank. And one reason that, I think I survived COVID so well as a business owner, but also as a mum with 4 kids at the time, was because I had emergency savings, and this isn't about saving for a rainy day and anticipating the worst and expecting it to happen, but you show up in a whole different energy in your business when you know that you don't need the next client. If you get the next client, when you're doing sales calls and you uphold your boundaries in a much better place when you have these things in place, because you don't need that person to save you. You don't need that next injection of cash because your needs are met. You make better decisions. You show up with more affirmed boundaries. You attract a better quality of client because you're not desperate for your next level client. So I can move through the rest of these steps to the financial freedom framework, but I think just concentrate on that first step. Like anything, it's the next right step for you. And that's probably because where else is anybody ever going to have told you to do that? Have your safety savings amount for you. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining me for this episode of the Wealthy Woman Show. I am so excited to be here and helping to contribute in any way that I can to support you incredible women to step into the wealthiest, most abundant version of you. Obviously, I've got my Wealthy Woman CEO event coming up at the end of the month. It's the perfect place to come and learn strategy, energetics, and activations to elevate your health, wealth, and business success in 2025, and just be in the company of really incredible women that can show you what's possible for you too. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next week at 10:30 again. follow me on show socials and make sure that you have your questions answered. And I will obviously be coming back to any of the questions or comments later on this live stream also. But thank you so much, ladies, to the ladies that joined me live. And I hope you have an incredible rest of your day.